Life Hacks Beyond Convention talks about population differences between Australia and US and how some US companies have been really challenged by our demographics here. Enjoy. Bullshit.
Australia's pretty amazing. When you look at how small we are population wise, I realise we're a big island, but
Mm.
our population, even now that it's nearly 30 million, is still really very small.
It's tiny.
You just see, we do have a lot of impact, like influence in the world, don't we?
Yeah, probably. Well, Western Australia has a lot because of all of the mining.
Mm.
They don't really need to be a part of Australia. They could be their own country easily. They're so
Well,
much
they keep
wealthier than
talking
everyone
about
else.
doing that, don't
Yeah,
they?
a lot do. Yes.
It's a huge part of Australia, though, if they suddenly had to take on the armed services. Because, I mean, if they become their own country, they're going to have to man their own borders, aren't
Yeah.
they? There's a lot of border to man.
Yes. A fairly big border, but most of it's fairly inaccessible too. So,
From the sea, though.
from the sea, no, I was thinking border
Yeah.
between us and them. Yeah, no, the sea
Yeah,
might's
no, I was
massive.
thinking of the sea border. Yeah.
Yeah, the coastline. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dear.
That is a lot of kilometres.
Oh dear.
Yeah. But every now and then it comes up again where they're talking
Yeah.
about they should be their own country.
Mm.
I was
Yes.
listening to somebody, this is a few years ago now, so the details are a bit vague, but they were talking about how we were set up for federation with our states and etc. And they were suggesting that they thought the people that wrote our uh, founding documents and all of that
Mm.
sort of stuff would have been surprised that we don't have more states and whatnot set up
Yeah.
in Australia, that it's been set up in such a way that pockets of the country can set up as their own state, etc.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I thought, oh, that's interesting.
I think just the vastness and the low population in Central is even
Mm,
now people just don't get it. I this is my belief about some American companies. I think Starbucks looked at a map of the world or a globe and went, oh, look, Australia's a really big country. It's the same size as the US. Let's go there. Now, we know their coffee culture is quite different from ours. We're a bit picky. So that would have contributed to their demise. But I really suspect that they thought they were going to make billions of dollars thinking that our population was the same as the States. And we've got a population about the size of New York. And they came out here and they did this big push and everything else, and then it just kind of petered out and they all closed. I think there
I
might be
know.
possibly one Starbucks in Sydney. Not sure.
Well, we've got one here in
Oh,
Ballarat in a suburb called Delacombe. It's opened
okay.
up in the last year or two
Oh,
because
they're
we did
trying
have
again.
one. Yeah, we did have one in Ballarat Central that closed down. I tried that about 3 or 4 times, to be
Mm,
honest. The first time I tried it, I thought that was shit coffee, and I didn't go back for months. But everyone, like you hear Starbucks, Starbucks. I
yeah.
thought, might have just been a bad barista.
Mm,
So I go in again and I thought, no, that was really bad coffee again.
mm.
And then I must have given it the 3 goes because
Yeah.
then another time. And what blows me away is some people like it. That was what I couldn't understand because I'd have people say, oh, let's go to Starbucks. I'd
No.
think, really? Okay.
Mm,
So anyway, this third time it's just like, okay, no worries. I'll try it again.
mm,
And yeah, it was just horrible.
yeah.
I did
Yeah.
not like their coffee at all. So I was really intrigued because they closed down. And obviously, I thought they'd completely exited Australia. But in the last 1 to 2 years, we've had another Starbucks. Now, I do think one of the reasons it's probably does better than the one did in the middle of town was because it's drive-through. People, and it's on a
Mm.
major highway.
Ah, right. Mm.
So the shopping centre's on quite a big through road.
Yes.
So I do think they'll pick up probably a lot of drive-through stuff.
Yes. Mm.
But as far as going to Starbucks,
No. No.
do not like their coffee.
So we have sort of built a huge culture around coffee and espresso.
Mm.
Whereas theirs is a drip filter type coffee, I believe. Starbucks.
Oh, I thought they still had the espresso machine
They
when
might,
or the
yeah.
one that was in Central. I got no idea in the Delacombe one. I haven't been there. I've got
Oh,
no intention of trying
trying
it
it
again.
again.
Mm,
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
no. So even if they change the way they roast their beans and the way they
Mm,
make their coffee, I won't
mm.
know.
Yeah,
Because I've got
yeah.
this idea in my head now that Starbucks
It's
do
crap.
awful coffee.
Yep.
Hmm.
It's sad for them in one way, but
Yeah, that's it. I know.
there's a
I've made up my mind.
whole heap of people. I think Foxtel thought they were going to come in and buy Austar, which was our
Mm,
satellite. Um, they've got cable in the States, and they came in and it was going to be no ads and blah and blah and blah. And it's just chockers with ads. There's not enough people here to maintain the infrastructure without some additional income. And yeah, there's several other really big American companies that have come in and then not lasted here. So yeah, so my theory is they look at a map and think it's the same size population-wise, and it very much isn't.
mm, mm.
So,
Well, it is hard to sustain a business in the rural areas, isn't it?
it's really hard. Yeah,
And it's getting harder because online shopping's becoming more accessible, like even couriering things in is becoming more accessible
yes,
for
yes.
people now.
Yeah, postal services are having to lean more towards parcels because nobody writes, or not so many less write letters and stuff like that now, or send
Mm,
checks. I mean, checks will be phased out by 2030 as well.
mm.
Yeah, so, and I'm
So,
guilty of buying
yeah.
a lot of stuff off online because I'd have to drive, yeah, 200 kilometers to get some of the
Mm,
things.
I know. So unless you've got a real point of difference that the local community want for some reason, it's
Mm,
just becoming harder and harder. I mean, it's
yeah.
hard enough in the cities.
Yeah. Well, our nice cafe dining place has closed down, not closed down. They may reopen for coffee and cake, but they couldn't maintain it on the population that was coming through. They would be
Oh, is
buying
that the one that was at the,
Bowley Pub. Yeah,
yeah.
two-strokeless.
Oh, so then
So,
they're closed at the moment.
yeah, they've been closed for a few weeks. They closed before Christmas and they won't reopen the way they were. They won't be doing meals. And one of the
Oh, what a
problems was
shame.
that the laws regarding handling food here changed so much that you weren't allowed to, like, they couldn't go to Coles and buy buy raw ingredients and come back because it had to be refrigerated between the shop and home and all this other stuff. And they've upped all these other rules about cafes. So anywhere serving food, how they use their knives and their boards and how you have to log everything. I cut a tomato with that knife and board, so I have to cut the lettuce with this knife and board. And small cafes in country towns can't manage that level of infrastructure, and they don't have the time for that sort of thing. Not, yeah, they're not going to get delivery of fresh vegetables because nobody comes here to deliver fresh vegetables. So they have to go and shop elsewhere, and now they're not allowed to cart certain things home, not allowed to bring chicken home. So it's just ridiculous.
So just using like, those fridges, those portable fridges, that wouldn't
I don't think
pass
they
the
were
code.
allowed to. I don't think they're
Yeah, they're
allowed
not allowed.
to.
Yeah, it's
I
got to
think
be
it's,
a refrigerated truck.
yeah,
Right.
something like that.
Mm,
Whether it's being kept at that level, I don't know. But I mean, I'm allowed to go to Port Pirie and buy chicken and drive around with it in a shopping bag for 2 hours if I bloody well want to, and then come home. Do you know what I
mm.
mean? Um, so yeah, it's
Yeah, but
really
you're not
hard,
responsible for other
other
people's
people's health,
staying. Yeah.
but they were doing the right thing as much as they could. And I think it
Mm,
just got logistically too much work. The paperwork,
mm,
they had to
mm,
log tomato and which knife and which, just
mm.
ridiculous. And I know for sure a lot of cafes aren't doing it. Um,
Well, I know they've got to check the temperature of your fridges at however many times a day and keep those
Log
records,
that, yeah.
etc. too. Yeah.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
mm,
And it's just because you're dealing with a tiny country town, a handful of people come through. We're dealing with poverty here, a level of poverty here. A lot of the locals wouldn't go there at all because they couldn't afford it. So
Well, and all of these things that get put in place mean that it's taking them longer to do, so they've got to put their prices up. So it becomes
yeah,
this cycle, doesn't it?
it's not viable. It's not viable for
Yeah.
two, and you can't put a staff member on when you need to, because you might put a staff member on and no one will come. You've got to, by law,
Mm,
employ them for 3 hours.
mm,
It's yeah. So
mm.
yeah, harder and harder. I wouldn't. Yeah, there's a lot of businesses I wouldn't look at the moment. And I noticed a post yesterday of, I think it's Kadina or Wallaroo or somewhere, the news agency is closing down. They've been trying to sell it for 10 years and they're just going to shut down most of it. So yeah, it gets harder and harder to get the services.
Mm. Have you got a butcher
Nope,
in Gladstone?
no,
No.
no. We have
Mm.
currently got a post office, the tiny supermarket with 4 aisles, an op shop between those two. Um, we have the managing officers for the Diocese of Wellocra, which is the largest Anglican diocese in the world. Um, we've got a couple of other shops, I think. Yeah, at home hairdressers. Yeah. Haven't had a news agency for years, and this is one of the traps with news agencies. If you buy a news agency, even if it's only been sold a year ago, the rules around lotteries, the Lotteries Commission, is you have to put an entire new service area in. So the lady took over the news agency many years ago here, and they said, oh, and then 5 minutes later, Lotteries came in and said, oh no, you've got to put in all new counters, all new computers, all this, $25,000. Couldn't do it, had to shut down. So, because that brought in most of her money and she couldn't afford to do it. So, yeah, basically ran her out of business.
So that'd be laws around gambling, I suppose.
Yeah,
That would all come under that.
if
Yeah.
you want a lotteries, what do you call it? License, I guess, to do with the licensing
Mm,
for lotteries. And they've got this
mm,
extra thing in so they can sell you some stuff. And yeah, and people in this
mm,
town didn't just wanted to buy a ticket, they didn't.
mm.
Yeah. So a lot of things are designed for cities, but there's no avenue for rural to, I don't want to say dumbed down, but have it modified to so that it can still be used in the country. Yeah. Electric cars. We've got some electric chargers in town. They take 6 hours to charge car.
Mm.
They're the slow
Well,
ones.
this is the one. This is the one that, like, when I look at electric cars, it does make me laugh a little bit because I think, gee, it could be a really long trip if, depending where you go, and couldn't it? If you got to stop, it's not like it's bad enough when you got to stop and put petrol in, and that's by the time you pull up, if you got to wait to get your petrol, but even if you can go straight in, by the time you pull up, put your petrol in, go and pay, go to the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
even if all you're doing is washing your hands from the petrol,
Mm.
even if you're not actually using the bathroom for any other purpose,
Yeah.
there's 10 or 15 minutes.
Yep.
You think, so if we've got to plug them in and charge,
Yeah.
it's just going to, because it already takes, for me to get from here to mum's place is, minimum of 9 hours. But
Yeah.
when you go the long cut, it's more like 11 hours.
Oh dear.
Mm.
Yeah, I
And you just think, so if you've got to actually charge up your electric car as well,
mm,
suddenly, well, suddenly it becomes a 2 or 3 day exercise, doesn't
yeah.
it?
I've just been given a stream of emails that went between a new couple here in town who came from Melbourne and have an electric car and have tried to charge their car because they can't do it at home because there's not the infrastructure in small towns to have it at home. And it didn't work. Now, as I read through the emails, because I'm on the association and we just need to be apprised of what's going on, and I noticed the dates that he had tried to do something, and then I thought, I'm pretty sure that's when Telstra was out. So another issue we live in
Ah,
country, we lost all our internet and our phones multiple times last year.
mm,
This charging system is linked through to the RAA computers by internet through Telstra. So they weren't working probably because the internet was out. So he has tried on several occasions to charge his car in his own now hometown and couldn't do it.
mm.
And they said, oh well, it's only been used a few times in the last 12 months. Well, yeah, if the internet and the phones are down, can't use it anyway. But someone's not going to come into Gladstone to charge their car up if it's going to take 6 hours. What are they going to do?
Yeah, well, that's right. They can't go to the cafe because there isn't one.
Yeah, well, there's one little shop that's still open, a little, calls itself a bakery, but how many times can you walk up 4 small aisles of a
Mm.
supermarket?
Yeah, because it's not like you've got a library or anything
No,
that you
and
can
it,
just go to. Yeah.
okay, there's the op shop, yes, it would. You'd be done in our town in an hour. If you're staying to visit with friends or doing some other historic stuff, that's fine. But also in a small country town, while it's small population wise, it's spread out. So you couldn't even do a lot of historic tours, and the jail is still closed, and we still don't know who's getting the lease on that. So yeah, no one's going to come here and call in and charge their car. It's just not going to happen. And no one in this town can afford an electric car. So, you know, there's,
Well,
ugh,
and it's not on the main highway.
no, that's right.
Like,
So,
it's not like if you're going through Port Augusta and up to the outback, you're going to
yeah,
divert to Gladstone.
yeah, not in a million years.
No.
So,